Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to your Tuesday lighting critique. We have a handful of images to go through, but I did want to start off with Alfredo's work here. And if I understand your post correctly, you created all of this stuff in a week? 1 week? Is that true? I hope that's true, because if that's the case, that is bananas. And as you need to spend your holidays differently in the future, but I'm very, very impressed with what you did. We also have a bunch of images here to go through. We're going to go through them in reverse order today, but like I said, let's start with Alfredo. Okay, so I will just talk through each one of these individually. Like I said, I know that you worked on these in very minimal amount of time. First thing was on the first frame. I noticed there's a little light on down here. Just something you may want to turn off if you want to go back and do that again. So with the sunny side, it's cool, but it actually is. I want to feel more warmth from the sunshine and a little bit more coolness in the shadows in here. It feels a little too neutralized. And also, like, if we want to play up the scale of this, there's some different things that we can do. Like, it's a lot of, like, bringing the camera lower to the ground to be from a person's perspective, because right now it feels like we're just kind of circling the model of something. This is cool, but at nighttime, this is a little bit different than how a public building like this would be lit. So this isn't like an apartment where there's people living in these. Instead, it's more about lights surrounding it, like little spotlights that shine up in here. And then there are little lights kind of all around this that shine up into each one of these areas. So I would find some reference on this if you were going to go back and revisit this at night and look at how it's actually illuminated from the outside, and it's not an internal illumination on this government building. And then I would throw in a nighttime sky back here too. There's just a lot of black space in here that I think we can fill in. This is looking really cool. Like, this foreground stuff looks great. I won't give too many critiques on that. It's just this background. I want to see more of a horizon line right now. I'm having difficulty envisioning what that is out there. It just feels like a couple horizontal bars. So it's just a matter of dropping in like a high dynamic, HDR, EXR image back there that you can have as a nice back plate. But I do like the texture and the shaping on all these rocks feels pretty natural. This feels a little bright down here, but other than that, everything feels pretty good on this one. This one looks great. I love this mushroom shot. I think, like, my initial take on it was like, oh yeah, this is really, really strong. For this one, I just want to see something on the screen. But I think that you could put some static on there. You could put some color bars, just something more than just like a white screen. I think would be more dynamic, or like the original PlayStation splash screen. Man, I forgot about these memory cards. That was definitely a part of my childhood, was bringing those over to friends' houses. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple other little things you could do here, but I think that would be the biggest one. I would also maybe tone down the foreground light and make it all about the light coming in from behind. But I think, again, for the quickness of these, I think that works out pretty well. This one's a little, like, the lighting on her, something about her is like, it's this, whatever this is, it's just like a crazy rigid edge to something. And also she's like very rigid around the outside. She just feels very low poly and something janky going on in there. This one I would almost take out, because this next character piece is a lot better. I don't think we need to see the back of her head, because it just feels like a hard line right down the middle. I do like the specularity in the skin. Looks great. It's creepy. I would like to see a little bit more fill in here, because her teeth are just like gnarly. And then as we punch in on the eye, it would be really cool to have like a nice eye ding or something in here to just kind of illuminate that. I think would work. I think like a stronger eye lighting would, just because we really zoom in on that. And then you cut into this. This looks good. The only thing on this one is the black points on the foreground controller versus the background. You just want darker foreground darkness than on the background. But other than that, that's about it. I might play up the glowiness of these areas a little bit more. I don't know. I've never seen a PlayStation 5, so I'm not sure what they look like. But that feels like something that you may want to play up a little bit. Also, it's a little floaty here, just kind of grounded into place. And then maybe a little drop shadow down here as well. But it's looking really, really great. I mean, for a week, come on, forget about it. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy good. Okay, so now I do want to go in reverse order. Ubaid, this looks a lot better than yesterday. I think that we can continue to push a little bit more. So I think I'm feeling a sunniness to her. But on the background, I still want you to push it a little bit stronger. Specifically, like I feel like the trees can go a little bit brighter here. I feel like we can get some more brightness on the building here as well. And also, it all feels very dry and matte. Like I would like to see maybe some specularity in the roof tiles or in the brick or maybe on the trees or just somewhere in there a little bit more. Also, this fence is kind of a grayed down, darker value, so getting some sunlight and variation on that too would be a big help. But you're definitely trending in the right direction. I think this is looking really good. I just want to push the brightness on the environment just a little bit more, because again, it's like maybe this is sunrise, sunset somewhere in there, but I really want to feel the sun on there a little bit stronger. We could potentially push in some more saturation into the shadows, but there's so many warm tones in this. I'm reluctant to do that. So let's just push the key value and see where that gets us. Rebecca, welcome to the group. I love the movie Up. I love the montage sequences at the beginning, and I totally forgot about this shot. This is a really, really strong shot. You nailed it with the breakdown. Look, with the color palette and everything, you're all spot on there. The one thing that I do also want to point out is that when there's a design element to lighting, when a character is off, when they're not balanced, when they're going through a tough time, you'll do things like this where you have this pocket of sun just kind of miss him, so he's not in the sunlight. You know what I mean? Like you don't frame them that well. You have the spotlight just slightly askew on them. You just have them visually out of balance with the scene and with the environment to kind of make them look a little bit off. And this also, highlights this missing part of his life, the missing light of his life, which is his wife, which normally would be right here. So, I think it's a really powerful shot. I think there's a lot of subtle emotion that's being played in here. Like you said, the saturation and the muted colors, but also, highlighting the part of him that's missing, not the part of him that's there. So really, really strong choice. I love this image. So looking at your, the image that you submitted, this is an interesting painting because there's so much color in the shadows. Like the value in here, like this shadow color is crazy. But finding all of these shadow colors, it's really something special. Like that's more about a painter, probably seeing these colors with his or her eye versus, the way that it's photographed, right? Like the way that something is photographed looks different than how we see it because our eyes are much more sensitive to light and color, that we can pick up a lot more. So this feels like what somebody was seeing. And even just like wrapping around here, like look at all those different color variations. So I think for this, I think that your like light position is pretty good. I think you can go a little bit more frontal in the way that, like, if you look at the front of this, like this section is getting a good amount of light and then the roll off doesn't start happening until this side. So I think that like your middle can go a little bit brighter and then the roll off doesn't really start happening until more that way. But the bigger thing is for you is really infusing these shadows with color. So I would encourage you to really, I mean, you can already see that you're doing it here, but like really try and push some more color into the fill value and into the sky value or any other lights that you have that are not your key, to try and not only add more color, but also increase, because the shadows in the reference aren't quite this dark. Like they're a little, maybe they are. Yeah, they're darker than I just remembered, but but they do have some good color in them. So you're not going to be able to replicate that perfectly without like really doing some deep shader rewriting stuff. So I wouldn't push that too hard, but just try and get some more color in the shadows, and I think you'll be in a good spot there. All right, Kat, this is an improvement over your last iteration, but I want to see more. So, I feel the strong sunlight coming in, and I think that's working well. but I want to see not so much because I think the haze is in a good spot. I want you to add a light that simulates the sky color. So something that's big, maybe an area light, maybe a large spotlight. If Blender has a sky dome, that would be great. I would put that. I'm not sure if it does or not, but something really big to push a lot of value and light into some of these darker areas. So like even you can kind of see here, like so we've got a sun patch here in the middle. I want to see more of that, and then I also would like to see maybe throw in a couple other spotlights back in here if you don't want to mess with this one too much for now. That just gets some light hits on these trees back here. Do you see how like this tree really comes to life, and this tree really comes to life, and these plants really come to life when they get hit with the key light? By not having any back here, you're robbing the scene of more depth, of really feeling a deep space. And I do think that we can, because I see what you're doing and you're trying to focus the attention there in the middle. And I think we'll be able to do that because like having these little pockets of light won't take us away from there. But what it does is it builds some more dynamic elements. So for your next step, creating or increasing a sky dome contribution light and adding in some more pockets of sunlight hits on some of these trees back here would be really strong. But good progress. All right, Jorge. So this is a really cool reference that you have here. So we've got 3 images from you, all different color schemes. The biggest thing with this versus even the reference, but especially this one down here, especially this one here too, is it's all very even. Like whether we're close, whether the buildings are close to the camera or far away, there's not a lot of aerial perspective and not a lot of fall off. And then there's not a lot of variation top to bottom. Like look at this building right here. And there's just, it's very consistent in its tonality from top to bottom. It would be nice to work in some maybe some darker bits down towards the base, the way that this kind of gets darker towards the base and fades up as we go up. This is like really nice atmospheric fall off aerial perspective. I would maybe try and push some of that in. Because this is a very, very abstract scene, right? Like it's not actually, like there's not a light source to it, right? There's not like, there's not like a sunlight coming in. There's just, we've got these pockets, but they're not really like this big old square actually isn't casting any light onto this. So it's like, in order to like, and I'm totally fine with us doing a stylized version of it, but we need to create something that's not just color, that's actually kind of telling the space a little bit more if we can. Like the way that this one uses these, there's kind of a haze that happens as we go off. There's a haze closer to the ground, and it gets a little darker as we go up. We have more like, and there's also more small detail in this, like lots of small pieces of this, little small signs, like small bits on the side, small detail in here. With this, there's just like large components. So, so I would work on variation within the buildings, trying to build a little bit more depth, and then see if you can incorporate some of that small detail in there as well. Emma, good updates here. So previous version versus the update. I like that we pulled back on the haze a little bit. The new position of the light is looking good. These lights look a lot better. Looking at and I still love your mood reference. This is really, really beautiful color schemes. I think that we can push some more warmth onto the character. Like I'm wondering if we can't justify this light hitting more of his face and then this one being more of like a rim on his back. Because again, if we can push some of that warm light onto him and onto the table, it'll help separate him from the cooler background. Similarly to, where'd it go? Like the way that there's a little bit of warm light splashing on, especially on her front side to get him off. And then also like he's got some warm light on him in this painting, although he's not in the scene, but like that warmth will help pop him off. But but I think that will make a big difference. So I would push that in there, and then for the light coming in through the window, it feels a little, and I'm guessing because this desk is got a brownish yellow tint, but the color's reading as a little bit more green. So I would possibly maybe shift the base color of the material of this carpet to something more neutral, so that blue really shines through. So like this color up here matches up a little better to what we're seeing down there. I like that we've highlighted these steps here. I think that's really cool. Other than that, for the desk, it would be nice if these handles were like a slightly different color, and then maybe like these were slightly different, because right now they all just kind of feels like one solid color. And if you want to add a little more detail into the bindings of these books, that would be cool too. Yeah, but I think you're moving in a really nice direction there, Diana. So got Toy Story 4, I assume, reference, a little Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs reference. We've got your two images here. This one made me laugh immediately. I just love the face on the wasabi that's being stolen. In terms of scale, this guy seems super tiny, or he's just very far away. But I think what you could do to plus this is a few things. I would build something else off the side here to extend the world a little bit, because it feels like they're just kind of floating in space. I love the texture that you're getting on the wasabi skin. This dollop on top, I almost want to remove it at this scale, because I think it's breaking down a little bit visually at this level. So there's that. I think the shaping on the characters is looking really good. Not too much here. I just want to build a little bit more shaping into this structure back here. I just think that like it's a little flat back there, and I want to try and get some more shaping here as well as on this guy here. I also think that we can maybe try putting this darker wood on the ground, and I think that would kind of like visually solidify that ground a little bit more. But the color of the rice looks good. The color of the eyes, the shaping across the character, all is in place. Maybe try. There's a lot of red on the limbs. Maybe try desaturating that and then gammaing up the arms a little bit more to brighten those just a touch. But yeah, this one's super fun. And then for your other image, like the richness of this, and I guess there's a little bit more haze on this, but like the richness on this looks so good. I do think that maybe a little bit more value in these shadows would be nice, but just like I just don't want to lose too much of that, because I think it's really contrasty and nice, but just a little bit more fill on the shadows, and hopefully we don't lose that too much. And then this too is getting a little bit dense, a little bit dark and heavy, and you can. So I would see about lifting that, and then I would also you can darken underneath them a little bit more too, and then get some more light on this guy and this guy here. But looking at the rest of it, I think this is looking good. And then if maybe work on defining this shader a little bit more, because if this is row, it would be more of like an internal glow like this. They just feel like plastic balls on top now. So I would maybe find some reference and really hit up the look that you want to identify for that. But these are looking great. All right, Aaron. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Let's go ahead and A/B between these. I mean, you said something about it not being very much progress. This is a big difference. Like, this looks great. Depth of field helps a lot. The brightness on the rice looks great. The specularity on the skin looks a lot better. We lost. Check out. We lost this guy. So try and bring that little dimple or whatever you want to call that back. And then I like the brightness on the key light. I think that's looking really great. And I think for your next step, I would really work on making these falling confetti things brighter and more colorful. They're a little gray and dull, but really play them up. Really try and have fun with them. And then And then I would try this look at with another angle. Like try setting it up and make like a 3-shot sequence out of this, because I think this has some good potential of like this party in Paris look. Yeah, and then I would also brighten up the whites on this guy's eyes. Just make them more like that level, and that would be great. Aaron B. Oh. Yeah, this is looking great. I just want to see. I want to see this in another scenario. I want to see another angle at this super colorful party scene. I think this is looking. Yeah, because I think this looks really great. I would just brighten up the central part of his face a touch more, like somewhere along this level. Funny because brightening it kind of blues it out a little bit too. Just a little bit more, just to kind of pop him up a little bit. But other than that, I think he's looking really great. Cucumber looks good. Rice limbs all feel pretty good. But yeah, I just want to see this in another iteration. And then maybe last thing. These guys back here feel a little bit lifted. I would just make this a slight bit darker. Yeah, I would make that just a little bit darker up there. Just because they like, if I'm looking at them just like that, they feel like a little artificially filled in. But yeah, other than that, all great. Okay, that's it for today, everyone. Thank you guys for submitting. And if you have any questions, let me know. And I look forward to seeing where you guys are tomorrow. All right, happy lighting, everybody.